Welcome to Manufacturing Day 2020. I'm Mike Beard. How are you this beautiful day? Thank you so very much for joining us. We have a great event planned for you today. We have some giveaways and some sneak peeks at some manufacturing facilities in Jefferson County. You'll see the products they make and meet some of the people that make them. We hope it will give you an idea of a career in manufacturing available to you right here in Southern Illinois. Each employer, well, let's list the employers first. We have Continental Tires with us, Schulte Industries, National Railway, Phoenix Modular Elevator, InnoTech Manufacturing. So we thank each of these manufacturers for joining us today and being a part of this. Each employer is going to be given a 10-minute tour, and then we will have a few minutes at the end for questions. If you have questions along the way, you can type them into your Zoom chat, and we've got someone monitoring those, and we'll be asking those questions when the time comes. We also have a big prize for you. This is kind of exciting, so you're going to have to really pay attention now. Would you like to win a $100 bill? How about that? Who wouldn't like to have a $100 bill? Well, we're going to be doing that. Each employer will be giving a secret word. You need to write down all 5 words. We have 5 employers and 5 words. They'll be talked about, said, or written somewhere during their presentation. So then text that information, those 5 words, to the number on your screen or to the manufacturingday2020@gmail.com. All students with the correct answers will be entered into a drawing for a $100 prize, and that those entries must be received before October 29th. So be sure and pay attention to those and see if you can pick out the words that they're looking for. So let's get our tour started. How about that? We have, as I said, 5 employers with us today, and we're going to start off with your friends and mine from Continental Tire. 45 years in our community, over 3,000 employees, over 125 zip codes, drive into Mount Vernon and Jefferson County every day or so, and that's huge and that's big. And for them to be a part of this with us today speaks volume of how they want to reach out into the community. So without further ado, let's hear from your friend and mine, Miss Casey Morris from Continental Tire. Good morning or good afternoon, Casey.
Hi, Mike. How are you? I hope you can hear me.
Fantastic. Yes, ma'am. Everything's fine.
Thanks for the introduction. So we're just going to go ahead and go through a quick agenda of what we're going to be talking about today. I hope you can see it on the screen. We will do a quick welcome. Obviously, my name is Casey Morris. I'm with Continental Tire, and I am the communications specialist here at the plant. We will then go into a video on manufacturing day experience from one of our employees. He was a Mount Vernon Township High School alumni. He actually went through manufacturing day when he was in high school, and now he is an employee of ours. So we're happy to show that video with you to kind of see a firsthand experience from him. We'll then go over educational opportunities and what we call Conti University. Jonathan McCoy will go over that with you. And then we will have a question and answer from one of our department managers, Jeff Lemons, and our HR business partner, Jennifer Porter. So you can go on to the video now. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tyler Lane, and I'm a mechanic in final finish and curing. The thing that I enjoyed most was going around in each department and seeing step-by-step process of the tire making. So I got to see why the tire looked like this in this department, how it was able to look like that in a different department. It was very interesting to me. The thing that interests me the most is my dad has worked here for 26 years, so he's always worked here while I've grown up. And the path through school that Continental provided for me to go through to have my own career that I chose was very interesting to me, so that's why I chose this. In high school, I took welding and basic machine work and an industrial electronics class, and that really helped me get my foot in the door because it taught me a little bit about each step, which I use all those here at Continental, so it really helped me get a hold of everything at an early start. The main skill that they need to really understand is troubleshooting, because a lot of things around here don't really show you what's wrong right off the bat. So you really have to troubleshoot and look into different things. And that's the main skill that I would recommend, because a lot of the skills like welding and stuff isn't used all the time around here, but troubleshooting is the main thing that we use. Training process in here was great. All the guys in here really took their time to show me step by step what you had to do to fix certain things, instead of just rushing through and getting the job done. They really took their time to show me. That way I was never rushed, and I knew the exact steps that I needed to take when I'm fixing things. When I started here, I was 18, straight out of high school. I knew I wasn't going to be able to hold a day shift, which would be 7 to 3 from Monday through Friday. So I knew midnights, weekends, afternoons, I was going to have to go through all that before I got to that. So being all the responsibilities that I had straight out of high school, I knew we're only going to get more. So I knew that I mentally had to prepare myself to work these off shifts, because I had to pay bills and had a lot of responsibilities, and they have changed a lot since I've been out of high school. So this job is very helpful with all of those. Just starting out and going to school, I would tell them to really pay attention and grasp school at a good level, because a lot of the things that they teach at Rend Lake really helps you out here. So the more you pay attention in school, the more that you'll understand things when they talk about it here on the floor.
Thanks, Lee, for sharing the video. I'm going to hand it over now to Jonathan McCoy. He's going to talk about educational opportunities and what we call Conti University. I forgot to mention at the beginning, our secret word is high school. So make sure to keep that in the back of your mind, or the forefront of your mind. So Jonathan, take it away.
Thanks, Casey. Welcome, everyone. We're really excited to talk about path to opportunity here at Continental. So the slide that we have prepared that we always talk about for the different paths for opportunity that you have at Continental is, obviously, we are a global employer located right here in Southern Illinois. So one of the traditional paths that I think most people have when they think about developing a career with a global organization is this graphic in the upper left-hand corner, where you have a very specific start and end. But the reality is, actually, there are multiple different paths that you can take. If you hire in straight out of high school, very similar to Tyler that we watched in the video, there are different jobs within the plant that we're going to train you on how to be successful in those areas. So even with no manufacturing experience, we provide that on-the-job training to make sure that you're going to be a successful operator or successful employee. In addition to that, if you have the desire to continue your education or pursue an associate's degree or an undergraduate degree, we want to pay for that. We pay for a lot of employee development opportunities within Continental, and one of the great ways that we do that is through tuition reimbursement for undergrad degrees, and then we also offer associate level classes in our facility. So we have a great partnership with Rend Lake College. I actually would even tell people, if they were interested in going to Rend Lake College and they were interested in getting a job, I would say come to Continental, work for us, and we'll provide that opportunity for on-site classes. You're not driving to the college campus, you're driving into the plant. We use a lot of the same instructors that you would typically interact with down on the campus. And those classes are virtually no expense to you. I believe you pay a $25 book rental fee, and that is your only expense for completing those on-site associate classes. And again, throughout your journey, if you hire in with an associate's degree, with a high school degree, and you continue to develop, we have all of the different career paths, whether you're interested in engineering, whether you're interested in controlling, finance, HR, quality focus, automation, technology. We have all of those different career paths located right here in Southern Illinois. So always excited to share the opportunities that we have. If you're interested in learning more about that, maybe the next first step that you can take is just follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Indeed, Glassdoor. So check us out on social media. And with that, we'll turn it over to the Q&A with Jeff Lemons and Jennifer Porter here.
If I may ask a question, I'd appreciate it. Maybe a statement more than a question, but following that career path that you were talking about, isn't your plant manager, Nick, didn't he start off as a floor worker and managed to work his way all the way up to the head of the entire Continental Tire in Mount Vernon, Casey, or someone?
Yeah, so Mike, you're exactly correct that Nick Pierce, our current plant manager, VP of Operations, hired into an hourly position. He completed his degree while working, completed his undergrad degree. Nick also worked in what we call an international assignment, so worked outside of the country. That was an opportunity that was available to him. And through his career path, he's gone from, hourly employee all the way to the front corner office VP of Operations. We're very proud of that. So.
Good afternoon. This is Tina Studer. We do have a question. How many shifts do you run and what are the hours?
You want to take that?
Jeff, maybe you can answer that.
Yeah, so we have actually two facilities here. So we have what we call plant 1 and a plant 4, so an old hall and a new hall. In the old hall, we work 4 shifts. So that has the standard day shift, which is 7 to 3, and a midnight shift, which is 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Then we also have 2 weekend shifts we call the D&E shift. So those shifts work 2 12-hour shifts on the weekend, both 11 to 11. And then they backfill 2 8-hour shifts Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday to get their 40 hours. So that's essentially a 4-day work week with the opportunity, of course, for overtime throughout that. And then in our new hall facility, the shift down there is a little differently. So they do have the standard day shift, 7 to 3. They have a 3 to 11 shift and a midnight shift, but they're shifted so that the weekends you work straight hours, but you also work those shifts on the weekend. So there are no 12-hour shifts in the new hall facility. They're all slid so that they work. You will work like a day shift, but you'll do it on Saturday, Sunday. So.
I have one more question. What is the environment like there?
So it really depends on which area of the plant you have. So we have multiple departments throughout this facility that it varies. So some are climate controlled and a little cluttered. Let's say some, not say cluttered, but more congested. There's more traffic in some areas. Other areas you are not climate controlled and very warm. So like in the curing department, it's very warm in the summertime. The positive of that, it's also very warm in the wintertime. So but in the tire buildings and the cutting areas, it's climate controlled. So some areas I said are more traffic driven. There's a lot of people. Some areas you would work by yourself. So we have multiple different work environments which you can hire into. We have something that really would fit everybody. You like to work as a crew. You like to work part of a team. We have a job for that. If you like to work alone and just be on your own for the whole day and do your own thing, we have a job for that. So like I said, we have 150 different job classifications in the plant. We have multiple different work environments to suit just about anybody.
I could add one additional question if I may. Is it all blue collar work or is there white collar work there as well?
There is both. Typically people start out in the hourly positions if they don't have their degree yet. And then like Jonathan said, there's all kinds of different opportunity paths to get into the white collar jobs. But yes, we have plenty of both available. And also, I just like to point out, if anybody does go to our website to apply, all of the positions that are open for Continental globally are on there. So if you're wanting to apply for the Mount Vernon location, you need to make sure that you select Mount Vernon.
Okay, keeping on time, it looks like it's time to move on to our next presenter. Your friend of mine, Mr. Dan R. Black. Now here's a success story for you. 2nd generation construction business, still going, and I love 2nd and 3rd generation businesses because that means a lot. And also, Dan, being the entrepreneur he is, he saw a market in the architectural world. And Dan, I'm speaking my thoughts on this. where the pre-manufactured items were made to put on hotels and so forth. And Dan took advantage of that, and InnoTech was born, started off small. And Dan, tell us where it's at today, big guy.
Hey, Mike, thank you, and welcome all the Jefferson County high schools. Glad to have you with us today. I'm down here at the InnoTech, what I call the world headquarters. And unlike General Tire, this is my little world. I'll be able to walk through and show you my manufacturing plant. It's not 100 acres under roof like GT. So our first person who works with InnoTech is Kim Thacker.
Hi.
Kim is the office manager and also the procurement person for InnoTech Manufacturing. She's been with me since we started. We have Miles Alehi. Miles is in estimating and construction. Both these people are proud Mount Vernon high school graduates. Going back to the back, will be InnoTech Manufacturing, where we like to say down here, stand back and be amazed. I have here Jason Holama, also Mount Vernon guy, and Jason is our production manager. Takes care of also the estimating and making sure everything gets produced and shipped properly. Then we have Bill Purdy. He's our 3D CAD person, the chief in our department. And then we have Travis that also does 3D work for us. Then I got to quickly get out to the back and show you our plant. This is Omar running in front of me. Omar actually runs the whole fab shop. He's the fab shop manager. He's the guy that makes it happen around here. As you can see, I have a young team. I have a good team of young people. All these buildings is where we started out, Mike. We had a lot of different buildings, and so we're going to show you today that we connected all those together. So we actually have now an assembly line like Mr. Ford taught us all that we should have. So we start off this first building. It will be our sheet metal shop. This is where we bring in the raw materials. We have bending machines, press brakes, certain parts, bend them. Then we have a CNC fastening machine, also to bend up parts, and our sheet metal shear. This is where it all begins. Then all these parts move to my next building, which is our fabrication facility, where they continue to cut the parts. And we have a plasma machine where we plas out all the smaller parts. This is the beginning of our new manufacturing plan, as you'll see ahead here. This is the plas. This is Jeff here on the cutting machine. Right. These are some of the smaller parts we make that are part of our components that go into our balconies. These have been plasma welded. And these parts are all moved on down the line. And what you're seeing now is our new manufacturing plant that ties all these buildings together. Today is our very first day, our coming out party for this. Skilled welding positions. This here is all new. These are where all the components start to be welded together. We make front panels, side panels, rear panels of our balconies. This is one of our largest balconies right here, Mike. We'll be going to St. Louis. Big order we're working on right now. And all this is our new manufacturing area. Just tickled to death and proud to show you this today. It's taken us 4 years to get to this point.
Dan, can you hear me?
They're hiding again.
Dan, can you hear me?
Once the panels are all welded together, you'll proceed to our clean room where they're sprayed off with a high pressure wash. and a chemical to get rid of the corrosion. Once it's washed off, back in the heat room here, be dried. We turn the corner and go into powder coating. Put an electronic charge on the component itself, spray the powder coating on it, and adheres to it. Once it's powder coated, it'll go in the oven and be baked for 10 minutes. This is our small oven. We'll get ready in this big space that you're looking at right now. We're going to put a large oven here. Be 12 foot wide and 24 foot long, so we can make the bigger balconies like the one I just showed you. Currently, this is our shipping, crating, shipping, and once we get all crated up, then we're ready to load it on a truck. This area will be converted from manufacturing space, which it is now. So this will be our new crating and shipping area. That pretty much concludes what we do down here at InnoTech. We've got a yard full of completed products ready to ship all over the United States. So if you're looking for a career in manufacturing, we'd be glad to talk to you. We have skilled and unskilled positions, as you can see, and we're all right here from Mount Vernon. I'm proud Mount Vernon Township graduate myself, 1900. Oh man, I can't remember that far back. I think 1970, 50th year anniversary this year. So I thank you, Mike, for that. This time, as we say down here at InnoTech, stand back and be amazed.
That might be a significant word there, so y'all might want to remember what he said there, stand back and be amazed. That could be a good one. Now, let me ask you a question. How many employees do you have working for you now?
Right now at InnoTech, we've got about 30 employees.
And you started 4 years ago with how many?
Probably about 6 or 8.
Okay, so in 4 years, you've grown to that size and you're shipping all across the United States. Are you shipping overseas at all?
We did one project in Brazil. It wasn't balconies, it was actually some conveyors that we fabricated and sent down there to be installed in a Goodyear tire plant. So that's the reason I call this our world headquarters, because we have done work in Brazil.
If I came in with the experience of welding and knew what I was doing, what type of an hourly wage would you start me off at if I was a good hard worker?
Right, we're anywhere from $15 to $20 an hour on welders.
We've got a couple more minutes if you have those questions there.
Hi, this is Tina again. So could you talk a little bit more about what it is that you exactly make?
Yes,
Okay.
we make hanging balconies that actually are rod hung and hang off the sides of multi-story buildings, apartments, condos, all over the United States. We also make sunshades, which are like an airplane wing that actually sticks out over your window, makes it more efficient so the sun doesn't shine through your windows. Similar to the one we made and put on the front of Community First Bank on North 10th Street. And then also we make metal canopies, just standard flat metal canopies. So those are the 3 products that we excel in and then we manufacture.
How many employees would you like to hire in the next 7 days or 20 days or whatever length of time if you could paint a perfect picture?
I tell you what, with this new expansion, if sales keeps up, I'll be hiring probably 10, 12 more employees. And so we'll be looking for all types of skilled and unskilled. So if you have welding experience, give us a call. All of our products are aluminum, by the way, so it doesn't rust.
Are there any more questions?
Is there any specific degree that somebody may need other than welding?
The only degree you would actually need is if you were in the 3D CAD department, then you'd have to be skilled in that area. So probably an associate's degree in CAD design. Other than that, welding, you need, if you're going to be a welder, obviously you have a experience either through junior college or through work experience to be able to be proficient at welding.
So if I were to get a certificate from Rend Lake or whichever college, I would bring that certificate in, and you would feel comfortable about talking to me.
Yeah, we'll give you a welder's test. We trust but verify. But yeah, if you've gone through schooling like that, you'll probably be proficient. We have the latest and greatest in pulse aluminum welders. So it makes it a lot easier. Used to, aluminum welding was a lot harder to do. But now with these new welders, it makes it a lot easier for people that have been welding stick welding or wire welding to be able to switch over and do the aluminum welding, which we do.
You one time made a statement, Dan, that I thought was very profound. You said the most important department out here is the shipping department. You explain on that a little bit?
Yeah, I love to see those semis pulling up and hauling our product all over the United States.
Nothing happens until the product is shipped, is it?
I missed that.
I say there's nothing happens till the product is shipped when it comes to generating
Exactly right.
revenue.
These guys here are building a base frame for a balcony, and then you'll put the front two sides on it. And also we got Trex decking. Some of our balconies, they got different designs. This is actually a welded wire mesh front balcony. Various designs depending on what the client would like. And we do custom balconies. We do also a lot of single balconies for residences. So if you need a balcony on your house, we actually do one balcony if that's what you need.
I think that's a misunderstanding, Dan. I know that Jeff Harmon had you do some work on just the deck on the back of his house. So you go all the way down to residential as well, correct?
Yeah, we do. We actually have an Ultra-Lux machine, which will make aluminum railing without welding it. It's a press machine that presses the balusters of a rail into a 6-foot rail section. That's what we did for Jeff out of his house. But these are all custom welded here, but we also have other venues of railing that are available to us.
Well, Dan, we're about out of time for your segment. Anybody have any additional questions before we move on?
Very much.
Go ahead, Dan. Thank you very much, Dan. We appreciate your time and appreciate your tour. Hope people, if they'll be interested, they'll be in touch with you and come down, and I'll be sure you'd be happy to show them individually around the building and let them have an opportunity to visit with some of your employees. You got some good people down there. I appreciate knowing you and having an opportunity to be a part of that a few times. Thank you so much again. Moving on now, Miss Kathy Lively from Mantricon is going to have a few words for us here. Good afternoon, Miss Kathy.
Good afternoon, Mike. Thank you. Mantricon is a proud member of the Jefferson County Development Corp and the Jefferson County Chamber. And today we're excited to offer the $100 award for all of you who are watching and can identify the 5 key words or phrases that an employer each will be giving you today. As you learn more today about important opportunities in manufacturing in Southern Illinois, and in particular in beautiful Mount Vernon, please know that every single day we wake up here and our goal is to build a stronger, more skilled workforce. So if you're a person needing training before you get into the workforce, please call us about scholarships. If you're an employer who needs a skilled workforce for the existing workforce,
Get on Facebook if you want to.
Please call us so we can try to help you as well. We have grants, scholarships, and apprenticeships, and it's all through federal funding at no cost to you. So please contact us today at the information that's on your screen. And thank you, employers, for your love of your community and for building a skilled workforce in Southern Illinois. Thank you, Mike.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Kathy. Always great information. Continuing on with our Manufacturers Day, we'd like to move now to National Railway Equipment. My, what a story that's been. When I came to town a few years ago, there was a big old building down here in the southeast part of the community that was just sitting there with nothing going on. And then Lawrence Beal decided to fire that baby back up, and unfortunately we lost Lawrence along the way, but Stephen kept it going. And it is, if you haven't had a tour of this, whether you're a student or an adult, you need to go down and watch this. And some of the photos and things that they've been posting on Facebook about the locomotives that they've built in Mount Vernon and they've shipped to Alaska, those are the most beautiful locomotives I've ever seen. And what a neat story. Angela Holmes, tell us all about NRE. This is exciting.
Hi there, everybody. We'd love to welcome you today. and watch what we have to offer. We've got a great video to show you inside our facility, and then we'll take some Q&A. So thanks for being here today. So at National Railway, we have several locations within Mount Vernon. We actually have 4 separate buildings. For those of you that don't know what we do, we manufacture and remanufacture locomotives. So we hire right now mechanics, electricians, welders, fabricators, maintenance staff. We also have other positions like accountants, engineers, drafters. The list goes on and on. We are predominantly a day shift organization. So right now our hours are 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. We are, again, building and remanufacturing existing locomotives for the most part. So when you think about that process, we're taking in a locomotive that's been out there. We're either repairing it, so completely tearing it down, repurposing it, putting new parts on, and then putting it back out in service based on customer specifications. We also do wreck repair. We have a group that we send out to maintain existing locomotives. So there's a lot of different things that we do, and we do that all over the country and all over the world. Right now in Mount Vernon, we probably employ nearly 300 people. And we'd be happy to talk to any of you about jobs at our facility. We're always looking to make those relationships.
I'll ask a question while we're still.
Mike, I'm
Sorry,
not
I'll
hearing.
start it again. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Let me ask a question. What is the starting wage, and what can I expect? Are there benefits? What would I need in order to be employed in your facility?
Good question. So our Mount Vernon facility is a union shop. The union that we partner with is the UIW, United Industrial Workers. So our contract is a skill-based contract. So we would assess the employee or the applicant's skill, and we can bring you in as an employee based on the skill that you have. So we do have a range of pay that we would look at, and then based on skill, it could be anywhere in that range. I think our starting range for someone coming in with absolutely no skill right now with the contract we have is $14.79. But again, if somebody has some skill or certificates or schooling, they could come in higher than that. So it will depend. We do have full benefits. So we offer medical, dental, vision, 401k with a match, a whole plethora of benefits. So we would sit down and talk about those things. Our day shift hours is of course a really big sell, and people like that option because it gives you time to be with your family. We do have overtime from time to time. So if we have a deadline happening, it could happen where we would ask an employee to work weekends, Saturdays or Sundays, or stay longer. That does happen as needed. And it might depend on the shift. Or sorry, the project that we're working on.
Leah, you ready to go?
Yes, I think we are, our technical difficulties are solved, so we will go with that video now.
Great, thank you.
All right, we're here at NRE and talking with Roberta here, and she's going to kind of show you what she does day in, day out at National Railway here in Mount Vernon as far as in our graphic department. She does all the decals and makes all the pre-mast stuff and everything for the locomotives for the painters. So we'll let her kind of run through what her job entails.
Okay, right now I'm in a program called CorelDRAW, which is similar to Adobe Illustrator. This is where we use this mainly to design all of our decals and our graphics, and you can change color, sizes, and so forth in that. Once we get it developed in this program, we save it as a PDF, and then we have two different machines in here. We have a cutter and then we have a printer cutter. To do this particular graphic, it gets, like I said, saved as a PDF and then gets sent to the software that's attached to the printer. And then it gets printed out and or cut. Also, have another program, if you're familiar with CAD drawings or CAD Link. This is connected to our cutting machine over there. I can go ahead and get this started cutting to show you how it, I already have it ready. Okay, so it just gets sent to the cutter, and then it should start cutting here in a second. There it goes.
So basically, this has got a fine knife edge on it, right, Roberta?
Yes.
And it's actually mapping everything out right now, and then it's actually cutting the decal surface.
The design that I had on the program there. It cut it out exactly, same dimensions and everything. This cutter here goes all the way up to 48 inches.
Okay. Now after you do this is what we kind of call a die cut.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then you have to go to the table. Walk over here.
This here is something that I cut out earlier. This is going to be the road numbers on the side of one of the locomotives. It came out of that same machine there. It's just a different vinyl that was used for this.
Okay, and the other is your actual printer where we looked at the screen earlier.
This one will actually print and cut. It is a 30-inch media width. This is my favorite machine. It'll do just about anything.
And that kind of screens the decal on there.
Right.
Or the ink.
It's actually it's an ink, but you can actually feel it. It's more like a paste than it is an ink. Okay. And then when it comes out of there, we have all of these different mask materials, and laminate goes on that. And you put this on there and run it through the laminator machine. And it puts like a cover over it to keep weather away from it. And then we can either run it back through that and cut it, or you can cut it by hand on the paper cutter over there.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Roberta. I'm here with Aaron, and we're at NRE, National Railway Equipment in Mount Vernon. And Aaron's in our cab crew, and he kind of oversees installing all the components in the cab. And I'll let him go through and kind of explain kind of what he does.
We install all the cab ceilings, the floors, pretty much any amenities you see in the cab. The flooring is actually a plywood floor with a laminate covering over the top of it. We cut it, put it down, glue it down. We trim out all the floors around it with all the trim. We use cut-off wheels to cut the trim. All the flooring is, of course, is cut with a regular circular saw. It's nothing special there. We have some specialized trim that goes around some things. The ceiling's the same way. It's a perforated metal. We put insulation behind it, we add the perforated to it, and we trim out all the trim all the way around it to cover up all the seams and seal it up well. Then we just put things like the seats are in here. We mount them up in there on the seat rails. The sun visors, the wiper motor systems we put in. Most of the stuff like the other stuff, the welders, they'll install most of the metal objects in here. The bathrooms we go into, we put the toilet in. It is welded down, and we have to tighten it down with the bolting it down.
Now, Aaron, I see a lot of things I see pop rivets.
Yes,
up here in the ceiling, so you use a pop rivet gun?
We use a lot of pop rivets. We use stainless steel pop rivets with an air or pneumatic pop rivet gun, because you couldn't pop them with your hands if you wanted to. They're very stiff and tight, and they pull things nice and tight when you suck them up. We install all the windows and glass in these, put the rubber in, seal them up. There, you just cut the rubber with a knife, put the rubber in, and you zip it up, and that's what holds it in. Seals them up nice and tight.
So like these windows, I mean, do you use any certain thing to pop that window in that rubber, or?
We have a zip up tool that you stick in there, and then you have to, somebody comes, they got one guy on the inside, and he pushes the rubber out, and you pull the rubber to you, and it'll snap in. And then you got a zip up tool. You can see it on the front ones. You can't see it from in here, but you just run around the edge of it, and it locks the rubber together, and that's what seals it up.
Okay. So a lot of the skills you have to use basically is kind of in your carpentry.
A lot of carpentry skills. You have to know how to read a tape measure, and that's a big plus.
Right.
You'd be surprised how many people don't. But I mean, it's a lot of carpentry skills in here, how to measure, how to cut angles, how to make angles on certain things, because this is a bent piece of metal. It's not just two pieces of metal put together. We used to make it in two pieces. Now we make it in one. It looks a lot cleaner, a lot nicer. Looks a little more professional. We install the air conditioners in these, which is, it's a drop-in unit. It works really well. We plumb it in. We plumb all the drain lines into it and all the way out the cab. Of course, the electricians hook up all the wiring and stuff like that. We don't really do that. That's on them.
Okay. Well, I think this is a pretty nice job here. It looks, I know the customers really like the quality and stuff that we give them whenever they come look up their locomotives. And Aaron, we appreciate your time, and thank you.
You're welcome.
We're here with Connor and Shane at National Railway Equipment located in Mount Vernon, Illinois, and they're briefly going to tell us what they do on the initial startup of the locomotive and things they test and things they check. So I'll let them start.
So after the locomotives are built, we get our hands on them and we get to check the input and output functions of everything. We meg and high pot to make sure nothing's tied in where it shouldn't be. We eliminate the grounds before startup. We get to use the Enforce. The Enforce shows us the train lines, whether our inputs are high or low. We'll have faults, and from there we'll diagnose on how to fix the problems. One of the first things we do when we come out is we check the bearing temps, and I'll let Shane explain more on the bearing temps.
Okay, so before you start, Shane, so basically you just have a laptop, and you'll have different programs you can also put in there to program what things you need to on the electronic devices in the locomotive.
Right.
Okay, so after we do that and have all the software loaded, then we'll do an initial startup, and that's when, once we do the startup, then Shane, you'll go and check bearing temps.
Correct. After initial startup, we check bearing temps. What we're looking for is your main and rod bearing temperatures. It will tell us whether we got tight caps, tight main caps, or tight baskets on our rods. And we use an infrared thermometer. It just shoots a laser and it feeds back what the temperatures are, and we take that data and we can tell with years of experience, we can tell whether we got tight bearings or not, whether we can go on with the rest of our testing. In that testing, we've got several different mechanical gauges, also electrical gauges, all tied in to make sure everything on the electrical side is correct with a mechanical gauge. Out there on the unit, we test for oil pressure, water temperature, oil temperature. We go through and check our fans and make sure all our cooling system works. And in the long run, all we're out here doing is making sure it works properly before it goes out to our customers.
So mainly you're doing like quality checks before you do the initial long run, so you know you're not going to damage anything on the engine.
Correct.
Okay. And along with that, after they do all this, then you'll do a track test where you hook locomotives to each other.
Correct.
And then you'll check the performance of how it pushes and pulls to each other locomotive.
Correct.
Okay. Well, thank you, Shane, Connor, for giving us a little brief description of what you guys do out here, and we really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Angela, anything else you'd like to add about NRE and the job opportunities down there? Are you looking for folks right now?
We're not currently, but we will be very shortly. So this is the perfect event for me to put the word out that very soon that we expect to get very busy. So I wanted to mention that. I also wanted to mention our secret word for today was quality. That's our word.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. That was very informative. Let's move on now to our next presenter, these folks from Phoenix Modular Elevator. I got a little story about Phoenix Modular Elevator. It's amazing. I know every one of these manufacturers, and I've had an opportunity to deal with them throughout time, but Allison came to town about, I'm going to guess 10 years ago, Allison, plus or minus. She came from Indiana, wanted to open up her own manufacturing plant, and she heard about Phoenix Elevator over here in Mount Vernon. She came over and bought it, was down on Perkins Street for the first few years, took off, did everything right, had to build a new building, and now they're out on the west side of town, out in the Mary Jane Jessley Industrial Park. And what a success story, Allison. I'm so proud of you and so very happy for you and the folks at Phoenix Modular. Tell us what's going on down there today.
All right, good morning, Mike, thank you, and good morning, students. I'm Allison, Phoenix Modular Elevator, as Mike mentioned. I'm standing up here on a mezzanine looking down over the production floor. You can see kind of end to end, you can see what our products are. We're gonna take you down there in just a minute and show you close up what we do. Let me tell you first what a modular elevator is. A traditional stick-built elevator, the way they've been made for years, is that they take concrete blocks and make a really tall shaft, and then they get inside it and take all the components of an elevator and assemble them inside that confined shaft. Well, modular elevators take that concept and turn it on its side. So we make a welded steel shaft or hoistway. We put all the elevator components in it, the cars, the rails, the jacks, everything that's needed to make it run. And then they ship all over the US and Canada as a complete unit. They can lift into place and be set in place in about an hour with a crane. About a week's worth of work, they're ready for inspection. So it's a fast way to add an elevator to a building. They were in fact invented here in Mount Vernon. 3 smart guys back in the mid-90s after the ADA was passed, came up with the idea of an elevator in a box and patented it and started manufacturing it in Mount Vernon. So as Mike mentioned, Phoenix acquired the assets of Infinite Access, was the company that made them for about 15 years, 10 or 15 years, somewhere in there. And in 2009, we became Phoenix Modular Elevator. We moved into this new facility in 2016 because we outgrew the old shoe factory. And we've moved in here the end of 2016, so almost 4 years ago. We have 40,000 square feet now. Much better facility, bigger, taller cranes, heated in the winter, and all those good things. We have about 40 employees now. You're going to meet a bunch of them in our drive-by, and we will introduce them to you and what they do. I'm going to flip my camera here. We're going to take you on the production floor and spend most of our time there, but we've got a lot of people that work in the office in manufacturing as well. So those include, come on camera, flip. We have sales, we have engineering, accounting, purchasing, human resources. So lots of support functions that all go into making modular elevators just like any other company. So now I'm going to walk you over here to our very own modular elevator that we installed in our factory and take you downstairs to the production floor.
What's this
Our tagline
out
is
there,
we make
ladies and
elevators
gentlemen?
easy
Anybody
because
found
they're
the
so fast to install and they eliminate so much work in the field. That's our motto. Mike,
Anybody but me seen the word yet?
Okay, this I'm going to hand off to Nick. He is our production superintendent, and he's going to walk you around the floor and show you how we make elevators.
All right, everyone. Moving to our first area here, I'm going to walk you guys through the cab process for the elevators first. So this here starts off our cab shop. We bring all the wood in here. We cut it to specific lengths, sizes, router edges, glue them together if the walls are oversized. Once it comes through, once that's completed, it comes through here into the actual cab shop. This here, we paint the walls for fire rating. We do all the gluing and laminating in here. And then walk through here. Once the walls are complete there, it pushes through into our cab assembly area. And here's one of our cabs. There you are. This is one of our cabs here.
We start with a sling and platform and put a sill on it after the floor. Our parts book is right there. I take the panels out of the cab shop and assemble the cabinet after the floor is on everything. Then I put all the hardware, your striker jam, your directional lamp, your controller, motor controller. I build the whole thing, get it ready to stab, and I hand it off to finishing department with Dan.
All right. Thank you, David.
It's a great place to work. And if you want a really good connection with the world and work good, become a mechanical technician like me.
All right. Once the cab's finished being assembled, comes over here to cab electrical. All right.
Oh, Dale, over here to run cab electrical, do all the wiring on cabs and whatnot. Came here from Rend Lake, graduated with a degree in welding technology, started out in enclosure, hanging drywall and doing some welding. And then last year I came over here, started taking all this stuff over, and it's just been a process. Wire the COPs, there's a car top right over there, took all that stuff up, and yeah, that's pretty well the gist of it over here.
All right. Thanks, Dale. All right. I'm going to walk you guys to the front of the facility now. This is actually where it all starts getting put together. This is where we bring in all the steel that actually goes into the modular hoistway. Have you guys talk to one of our guys down here, and he'll walk you through the process. All right.
Hi, my name is Jeremy. I'm the lead here in the fabrication department here at Phoenix Modular Elevator. This is the material prep area over here. All the raw materials come in off of the steel truck trailer. We get them in, we come over, we get our steel cut list over here. Everything gets processed due to specification. Everything's kind of different, so we got our list for all that. Whether it's cutting, punching, building small parts, whatever it takes to build the elevator. Over here is where the sling and platform gets built. That's what the car is built on or sets on, rides up and down the shaft of the elevator. So that's where we do a lot of our drilling and small parts processing. Over here we have our jigs. We use a lot of jigs for the steel processing of all the parts, pretty much everything that goes into building a modular elevator. Over here, we have a hoistway. This is the structural bay area. This is where we do all the structural welding. Everybody that welds over here has to be structurally certified. This is the hoistway itself, as you can see. The car or cab rides up and down the hoistway. It's derived from, depending on thickness of steel tubing, 3/8, ½ inch, 1/4 inch, 4x4 steel tubing, 1-inch thick face plates that get welded on. A lot of other little parts that go into it, light gauge framing, so the enclosure can screw the drywall onto it and close it all in. And that's pretty much about it. The doors as well, we get those parts in from another vendors, and we put them in. We don't really custom build those. But,
what got you into this, Jeremy?
Started welding in high school, had a knack for it, kind of fell into it. Pretty much been doing it ever since for about going on 13 years now. It's a good trade, it's a good skill, and it'll keep you in a job.
All right. So once it leaves our fabrication area, we push it down for the enclosure process. Now our structures, they can be any size, 2, 4, 10 stops. We just build them in sections the taller they get. All right, here's our enclosure guy.
My name is David Thomas. I do the welding and hang drywall for the enclosure area and a little bit of fabrication down there with Jeremy. Basically, after we get it from the fab, we start laying out the drywall on the inside, make it look nice and pretty. After that, we hook it up to our big hydraulic turners here and start laying the green boards out on the outside of it. Then once that's done, we are able to pick it up, turn the whole thing however we need to, slap it on the other walls. After that, we finish off the roof and then send it down to electrical to have all the plumbing and wiring done.
How'd you get started in this, David?
I was at RLC, heard about, just about to graduate. I heard about this job from Buddy. He was already here. And they were gracious enough to give me a job.
All right. So from there, gets pushed down to electromechanical. Now down here, this is where we actually take the finished cab and we actually insert it into the hoistway. Here you can see the top of a cab that's already been inserted. All right, and from there, we'll go to the bottom side. Let you guys talk to our electromechanical crew. All right.
I'm Dan. I'm a lead over electromechanical, and I'm also on the maintenance team. And I've recently started my 2-year apprentice program to get my elevator mechanics license.
All right. I'm Shane. I started here after high school. I started in enclosure. There we did drywall, and then I moved to electromechanical shortly after that, and now I do. Yeah.
All right. Huh? So they do all the electromechanical work. They run all the conduit you can see, wiring. They're the ones that actually put the cab inside of the hoistway. All right, I'm gonna bring you guys back over to Allison.
All right, so one more stop. We got 2 more people we want you to meet, 2 of our employees who are elevator mechanics now, and they're gonna tell you how they got to be elevator mechanics.
Hi, my name is Aaron Nelson. I've worked here since I got out of high school as well, back in 2012. So I've been here for a few years. I worked through enclosure as well, into electrical mechanical, done some structural and whatnot, and then also went on a 3-year apprenticeship for being an elevator mechanic, and I'm now a licensed elevator mechanic who does most of your maintenance and repair stops around Southern Illinois.
All right.
I'm Matthew Bearden. I'm a recent elevator mechanic. I've been here for about 3 years. Went and just took my test just the other month. I was in aviation for 9.5 years prior to this. So everything sit there and kind of transferred over when I came into elevator mechanics. I travel around the United States installing our elevators that we sit there and we do.
Right, and we're gonna turn the camera around and go back upstairs.
Allison, may I ask a
See
question
any
while you're
other-
walking? Allison, may I ask a question while you're walking?
You may. Can I tell you about fruit first?
Oh, well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes, I forgot about your fruit.
Hang on, I can't hear you when I'm in the elevator. All right, fire away, Mike.
Apparently, those elevators never stand up until they're at the job site. So they're laying down vertical all the time. I mean, horizontal the whole time until they get to the job site.
That is correct. We do lots of quality checks. We bring out the electrical and do lots of things like that to make sure everything's perfect so that when they will stand up, they'll run like they're supposed to.
That gentleman that does the repair, do they only repair the elevators that you make, or would they come to any building with elevators in the community?
They can repair anything, any brands, commercial, residential, and so forth. And I think my time's about up, so
It sure is.
usually at the end of our tours, we offer fresh fruit to all the individuals, so I'm gonna offer you a picture of it. One of our employee benefits is we have unlimited fresh fruit because we believe in keeping our employees healthy.
Well, thank you very much, Allison. Very informative. And again, I'm sure that if anybody's interested, that you would love to talk to them. Or you say you're not looking for anyone right now, Allison, is that correct?
We have high school co-ops that work on our enclosure team. So if you're interested in that, talk to whoever's in charge of your co-ops and they can get in touch with us.
That's a cool picture there showing how that goes up like that. That is neat.
That's Murfreesboro Middle School on the bottom there.
Okay.
In our own backyard.
Now, he indicated you could go more than 3 or 4 stories. You started off not going very high, but how high can you go now?
We can stack towers on top of each other. So we've done 8-story elevators. We've had discussions on going up to 15, some bigger projects like that. So
wow, fantastic. And right here in Mount Vernon, Illinois, in Jefferson County, that started from scratch, and look what it's done. Fantastic. Congratulations on your success. Now let's take it over to your friends and mine from down at Schulte Industries. Brandon, I see you're there today. Happy Manufacturers Day. Tell us a little bit about what Schulte Industries is all about.
So, Mike, we're actually probably one of the smaller manufacturers here for the Manufacturing Day. We're kind of a small shop, but we design and manufacture what they call whip packaging for the automotive industry. So obviously everybody knows that a lot of the automotive manufacturers do not necessarily manufacture all of the parts. So there's places here locally, some like Magna over in Nashville, or North American Lighting here in Southern Illinois, or across the whole Midwest that manufacture individual parts for the auto industry. So we design and manufacture the returnable packaging that they use for their transportation from parts from point A to point B, whether it be internal plant or external. So we'll give you a little walkthrough of what we do. We are a contract sewing shop, so it does get a little noisy when we get all these sewing machines out here running. I apologize about that. Let me see if we can switch this camera around where you guys can see everything going on here. So here's our shop here. We'll start back here in the back. And again, I apologize for some of the noise, but we bring all our materials in globally. So what we do is we actually have contracts with Canada, contracts with Germany, contracts with China. And we bring all these materials you see in the background back here to produce all of our goods. Our goods will be a combination of any one of these materials or a single one of these materials. Here's some finished goods you guys can see back, waiting to be shipped, waiting to bring this in that we can put it up, install it in. All of our process pretty well starts off as these raw goods come in. We actually bring it around and we come to our Gerber cutter. Multi-rolls here, so it's a multi-layer cutter. Unlike a CNC flat table, we can actually do multi-layers. So we can actually cut fabric up to 1 inch thick. This cutter we design all of our own CAD software. I don't know how well you guys can see it running here. Mark here can kind of tell you a little bit about what we do.
This is our Gerber cutter, and what we are doing is we are drilling holes right now in our Gerber, right here in the hose. That way the sewers can connect the hose together. Connect the sewers.
So the nice thing about our Gerber table here is it increases our production almost tenfold versus the old way of doing things. The wonderful side of this table is we are able to cut plus or minus 0.10 of an inch on any fabric that we can produce. So, like I said, it is a little noisy, but it does help with production tremendously. Once we go from this step, we started off in our manufacturing side, which is everything comes across at a 2-needle table. Here's a good example of what we're doing right now. I don't know how well you guys can see that. This is a project that we're making right now that you see it on the Gerber table that will allow us to be able to pack, I think it's 12 parts in that tote, separate part protection. Once it gets cut, it actually goes across to our 2-needle tables. Both of these machines here are 2 needles. So basically what that means is that we're sewing 2 stitches at one time. Here you can kind of see a good representation of what's happening. As we're folding our edge over, we're getting it in there. We're actually sewing through 1/16 inch thick magnets along with our 18-ounce vinyl to make a cover on our product. This specific cover is actually what you see right here. This is one of the items that we make completely. So we actually bring the raw metal in, completely fab it out, and then we also make the interior components. See if we can open this cover up and let you see a little bit better of it. So here's a good representation of what we do. This rack stands a little over 6 foot tall, holds 15 cells on this specific one. And this is the type of manufacturing items that we produce here locally at Schulte Industries. Now, every component that we make actually does serve a purpose. So all these machines out here, we have specialty machines to do some processes, and we have non-specialty machines to do other processes, just standard old sewing machines. All of our sewing machines are what they call a computer-controlled sewing machine, so it helps with operator fatigue. We have component sewers, which is what Peggy's doing here. She's actually taken 2 of the components that was previously cut on our Gerber cutter and actually laminating the 2 together to create a shelf, which is one item that's inside of that rack that you saw earlier. I kind of passed it over here to Stephanie, is not only our production manager on the back, but she's also one of our final assemblers. So I'll let you she can kind of discuss what she's doing here.
I'm a final assembler here at Schulte Industries. I take all the components and I put it into our final product. This is a 32-cell rack. And I also, in the last person, typically that sees our product when it goes out right and in charge of quality control. If something isn't right or comes back wrong, it's on me.
So as you can see, this is another one of the products that we manufacture here at Schulte Industries. Again, waiting for it to come out. We're waiting for it to actually ship out. Our shop is one of the smaller shops. Here's kind of a good aerial view of our shop. We'll let you see it all here. The nice thing about this is we are a small manufacturer, but we can also offer a lot of neat joys to be working individually. So we'll come back in the office here where we can understand each other a little more. So because we are the smallest manufacturing shop you see, like I said, we do offer quite a bit. We do have a lot of customers. We actually ship to about 40 states here in the United States. We do actually ship down to Mexico. Like I said, we do get all of our products in globally. So, you know, we do deal a little bit with everybody as far as getting our raw materials in. And that's pretty well sums up the tour.
Brandon, thank you very much. Yeah, you and your father started this business. How long have you been in business now?
We've been doing this for about 12 years now. We actually went incorporated on April Fool's Day, 2013.
Okay, and you started off with how many employees and how many do you have now?
We started off with 1 employee and myself, and we now have 17.
17. What are the expectations for the future?
More growth. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to continue to grow and continue to offer a high product service to our customers and continue to grow here in Southern Illinois.
And the starting wage at your place would be for a, what would I need to be a pretty good seamstress if I came to work for you?
Well, that's something that's kind of unique. Obviously, seamstress is not something that is very well known anymore. So our starting wage, it varies on depending on the person a lot of the times. If someone comes to me and does not have any experience, our starting wage is $10 to $12 for the first 90 days. We do consider the first 90 days as a training curve for us. After that, our average pay is in the $15 to $20 range.
Any benefits?
Oh, absolutely. We have full health insurance, full company match retirement plan, obviously paid time off, paid vacation days, personal days, and 8 paid holidays a year.
Sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's not too shabby.
Any other questions out there? We're running right on time and everything's looking good. Do we have any questions for Brandon?
Brandon, did you happen to say how many shifts that you run?
We currently only run 1 day shift, so we work from 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday.
Anybody else? Hearing none. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, there are hundreds of career opportunities in Southern Illinois. Manufacturing and many diverse industries. I saw welding, I saw carpeting, I saw CAD, I saw secretarial, I saw management. Anything that a person could want to be in the manufacturing industry is available in Jefferson County. Very exciting. So if you want to learn more, talk to your career counselor about what you need to do to prepare to succeed in one of these careers. Now, I want to remind you also, and don't forget about that $100. I've got 3 of the words down there. I missed 2 words. I hope all of you got all 5 of them, because as you can see, there was a secret word at each place, and if you wrote down all 5 of them, the deadline is the 29th. If you'll write those down and send them, either text them or email them to that address, your name will be put in the pot for a drawing for a $100. I've got another note at the bottom, and I can't read my notes. Can you help me what else I was supposed to say, please? I think, Kathy, you had indicated at the end to say something about 25 to 28 employees.
I can jump in here. We have a video showing.
Oh, that's it, yeah. Sorry, forgot.
That's okay.
Well, if I may, thank you very much for letting me be a part of this today. We're going to close this out now with a video and some additional information that's interesting to you guys. But I've been inside of each one of these plants. I've had a chance to see them from the beginning all the way up. And if you're looking for a good career, these are good people to work for also. That's a key right there in going to work for an industry, is who are you working for? And I know these people personally, and I would put my grandson and my children in any of these factories any day of the week if they wanted to go into that occupation. So thank you for letting me be a part of it. Leah, I'll turn this back over to you. And don't forget, there's the Greater Jefferson County Chamber of Commerce is always looking for new members, so don't hesitate to call us if you'd like to be a part of it. Thank you.
Why did you get into manufacturing?
I like the satisfaction of putting something together and seeing the final product.
And what is your job description?
I'm an industrial sewer. I do final assembly usually. Today I'm working on components for the final assembly.
Thank you. So why did you get into manufacturing?
I like working with my hands.
And what is your job description?
Currently, I'm doing final assembly and putting these bags together.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Why do you like manufacturing?
Well, I like working with my hands, putting things together to see how they work.
Manufacturing.
Well, I like working with my hands, putting things together to see how they work. I just like doing that.
And what is your job description?
Right now, I'm putting grommets on some straps for racks, but I can also sew, and I do a little bit of everything around here.
Thank you, Peggy.
I like making things.
And what is your job description?
Seamstress, sewer. I am putting together sides for bags and adding Velcro and for the manufacturing process.
Thank you.
This is Jason Halama. He's a production manager for InnoTech Manufacturing. Jason, why did you choose manufacturing as a career?
I chose manufacturing due to my interest in welding and fabrication. One is the plenty of job opportunities, different directions you can go in manufacturing. There's always openings. I love being directly affected by economics and economy and producing product. And actually, that's another great thing about manufacturing is you are truly producing a product at the end of the day.
This is Omar Cabrera. He's my manufacturing supervisor for InnoTech Manufacturing. Omar, why did you choose manufacturing as a career?
Well, manufacturing was introduced to me by a friend, and when I got into manufacturing, I really liked it because when I was younger, I used to take things apart and put it back together, and it was a sense of satisfaction. And it's the same way I feel when I do manufacturing because I get to put things together and see them be used in the practical world, and that makes me feel real good.
Thanks, sir. This is Kimberly Thacker. She's currently the office manager at InnoTech Manufacturing. Kimberly, why did you choose manufacturing as a career choice?
Well, I kind of got into manufacturing by default. My parents owned a manufacturing company, so I started a very low-level entry position when I was in high school. Continued working my way up, working in different departments until about 2008. And then I actually went back to school and got my degree in a medical field, and then ultimately circled back to manufacturing. It's very exciting. You get to, see the products that you build, and then you're out in the world and you get to see these things that you ultimately helped manufacture. So it's very exciting to work in manufacturing.
Name's Levi Bradham. I chose manufacturing as a career because I love building stuff with my hands and love seeing an finished product out of a pile of scraps.
I just didn't really like all the other stuff. I like building things. I like watching it from start to finish. That's just something I enjoy.
Oh, no. Well, I started working on backhoe buckets for my dad, and welding was just part of the taking care of a tractor, so that's all I ever kind of knew. Just manufacturing, went in welding and manufacturing, something to do.
I was never good in school before, but I sat there and found out I was really good with working with my hands. So now I'm an elevator mechanic and I make $40 an hour.
Hi, I'm Roberta. I like manufacturing because I like making things and working with my hands, and manufacturing allows me to do that while making a decent living and supporting the economy at the same time. And at the end of the day, it's nice to be able to say I helped make that.
I'm Connor. I work at National Railway. I've been here since 2014. I like working in manufacturing because it allows me to do something different every day, and it keeps it interesting.
I'm Shane Laird. I've been here at National Railway since 2007, just out of high school. I like manufacturing because I get to learn new stuff,
and get to fix problems that you won't get to fix out in the real world.
Hi, my name's Aaron Miller. I've worked here since 2011. I like manufacturing. I like the challenges of this job. It gives you something different every day. I just like working and doing this kind of work.